Hi everybody, thanks once again for joining me here at Lisa Horton Crafts. Right, I think we'll crack on and we'll make a start, because there's quite a few measurements to take into account today. I couldn't resist using the gnomes. So this was the card I made, a little floating pop-up card, and I made a belly band just as a closure, just to keep it closed. Don't do these a lot, but I don't know why, because I think they're really quite cute. And added a sentiment to the front. So if I slip the belly band off and then open it out, how cool is that? Isn't that ace? Now the only trouble is with this is you have to be careful how you close it again, because these squares overlap. So I thought today I'd make today's a little bit bigger so that they don't. So let's just run through what we're going to be using. I'll just put my little gnome to one side. So I've used Lisa's gel ink pens on here today. Not very much for the dots and the bell really, and the little buttons on his boots and his soles of his boots. But I love these pens because they blend so beautifully. They blend with each other and they blend with water. I've also used just one of the sentiments from the Frame It stamp and die set. But these little sentiments here, they come in so useful. And this sentiment here that I've put on here is from this set. And all I've done is when I've added it to my little acrylic block, I've just rounded it off, so I've shaped it to sit on my block, and then I can stamp it directly into his little banner. And it's just the perfect size for something like that. So I just thought that was a really cool idea. So I've used those. I've also used the smaller stamps in this set, the Builder Sentiment collection. I've just used the happy and the birthday just as my sentiment on the front. Okay, so just the stamps out of that set, because they're the right size. I mean, if you were making a bigger card, you could use different stamps. And then I've used this Let's Celebrate stamp set. I mean, they're just fabulous. And the thing I like is that Lisa's done dies to match every single stamp. I just think that is such a genius idea. It's going to save so much time and make your life so much easier. So first thing I'm going to do is, you see these panels here. Now you could use paper pads that you've already got, but I thought, why not use the elements from the stamp set, because they're so cool. Why not just tie it all in together? So the two outside flaps and the two inside have all got the same stamped card on them. Now I've already done 3, so I've left 1 to do today, just to show you how easy it is really. So first off, we're going to just use the stencil. Now this is from the Essential Stencils, the set of 3, but you can use any stencil set that you've got. You know, you don't have to use the hearts. I just particularly like this stencil. It's one of my favourites. So I'm just going to do the background first, and then we're just going to stamp on top of that. So I'm using Salty Ocean, which is quite a bright blue. You can see I've already used this morning. So I'm not putting too much ink on here, because I will be able to move some of the ink that's already on the stencil into the background. And again, the Ultimate just comes into its own. Having these stencils with the peg system and the holes to just set them in place just makes life so much easier, don't you think? You know, wherever there's innovation, imitation will always follow, but the first is always the best, I think. So take my stencil off. So there's the main part of my background. Okay, I use the bijou brushes just because I think it gives a softer finish. And then I'm going to stamp on top of this. So I've already got my stamps on my Ultimate here, and all I'm going to do is just line my card up so that my stamps will sit near the bottom of this piece of card. before I ink them up. Okay, just a little bit too far over there. So just ink my stamp up. Now I'm using a VersaFine Clair, and this one's Paradise, and I use this one just because I think it really, the colours blend in with the rest of my colour scheme, and I just think it looks fabulous. I just think it's a really nice colour. I'll just take that extra bit of ink off there because I don't want it anywhere it shouldn't be, and then just stamp this down on the bottom of this piece of card. And again, these stamps give such a fabulous image when they're stamped down. Yeah, happy with that. So then all I need to do is move my card down and then re-ink my stamps when I've lined them up. So going a little bit further up there. Not worried about it going off the edge, it's part and parcel of it. Yeah, I'm happy with that being there. Ink them up again and just stamp them down. Now, as I said, there's all 4 pieces I've done, but I've already done 3 of them, so that's that bit. Now I've also added in an extra little bit, and I've used the star again out of the same set, and I've just put in the star randomly all over here. And the reason I left it separate was because I want to use it in so many different places, and it would have taken too long to have put it on the platform and sort of stamped it down that way. So I've added it to a separate block, and I'm just going to go round and add it randomly off the edge, in the middle, just to tie it in, because obviously I'm going to have these little stars on my belly band as well. So just one little more there. I think that'll do. Yeah, happy with that. So that's my decorated piece of card already done, and it matches the other 3 that I've already done. I did these earlier on this morning. Okay, so they're all ready to go on my card. So measurements bit. So the base of this card is slightly bigger than this one. You can see this one fits quite nicely inside the one I'm doing today. So my base piece of card is 30 by 15 centimetres. Okay, now remember that when you score your side panels, your 2 side panels need to measure half of your middle panel, so that they meet in the middle. Okay, so cut your card 30 by 15 centimetres, score it at 7.5, flip it round, score it at 7.5 again. Okay, so that's your base card. Now I'm putting in my centrepiece, and this is 14 by 14. So if I add this down first, spent a lovely afternoon yesterday sitting colouring gnomes, which was quite nice. So let's add our panels in so that we can move on. So I've got 2 smaller ones and 2 larger ones. The 2 larger ones are going on the outside. So the 2 that I'm going to put on the inside are 14 by 6.5. Okay, and they're going to line up with this panel here. So if I've put it on right, it should all line up. Okay, like so. So we'll add those down as well. So those are the inside flaps. We might as well go ahead and add the outside while we're at it. The outside flaps are slightly bigger, so these are 7 by 14.5, these 2 on the outside. So that's the outside flaps done. Now we're going to put the mechanism into place. Okay, so you're going to need 2 pieces of card that measure 16 by 3 centimetres. Okay, and you're going to score that at 3 centimetres, 11 centimetres and 14 centimetres. Okay, and then you're going to fold all those and score those lines. And then here you'll see there's a score line here. That is a pencil dotted line at 5 centimetres. Okay, that is just a guideline. You're not going to do anything with that other than line your squares up for your little gnomes to sit on like this. Okay, so what you need to do is make sure that your scored pencil line are on opposite sides of the inside of your card. So if you see there, my scored line is this side, but my scored line is this side on the bottom one. So they want to be opposites, top and bottom. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is add your squares where your gnomes are going to sit and your cakes and that. Now these are 7 by 7 centimetres. Okay, so you're going to stick these down against this score line here, this dotted line, and make sure that your square is sort of more or less in the middle of that strip. I mean, I'm not measuring it because I can't be bothered. So put your glue from that dotted line all the way to that 11 centimetre score line, that folded line. So you're putting your square down so that it's in the middle of that strip. The strip is in the middle of the square rather. Okay, so you can't see the dotted line. All it is a guide for you to add your square down. Okay, so if I just do the other one, add this down here exactly the same way, put my glue between my score line and my 11 centimetre line, and again I'm using Lisa's glue because it's the best and I know nothing's going to fall apart. Okay, now then we need to add these to the inside of our card. So what you're going to do, line up your edge and the top of your square so that it sits inside your card. Okay, so you want your square lined up with the top of your card here, and then this piece here, the larger piece, lined up with the crease of this flap here. All right, then what you're going to do is add your glue on here and fold your flap over. So make sure that your square is lined up at the top, fold your flap over, and then that's going to pull that back over here. Okay, so then you need to put this down here. So add your glue to your smaller piece. Are you with me so far? Fold it under and glue it down so that when you open your card that moves like that. Okay, and then you're going to do exactly the same on this side with the other piece. So add my glue onto my square piece here, line my square up with the bottom of the card, line that up with the crease of the card and fold that over. Pull it back on itself, fold it over, and then add your glue to the smaller piece, fold it under, and glue it down. So now your pieces both open out and they're both floating. They may still catch because the chef gnome sort of sits quite proud of this. Okay, but I think that's really quite a clever little mechanism. So my images, I've already coloured these, as I said. Sat and coloured these yesterday, and I've stuck with the same sort of colours. I've stuck with blues, but I just think she's so cool. I think she's really, really pretty. Now I'm going to adhere it flat, because if I add 3D pads to this, these are going to interfere with each other even more. Okay, So I'm adding this flat. I know I don't do that a lot, but before I add it down, if I just show you the back, what I did was cut out, using the die, another image, just using the die, not stamping the image down first, so that because I've used alcohol markers on here, it does bleed through the card, so that you can't see that. I've cut out another one in the same contrasting card so that it sits nice, and if people look at the back they can't see anything untoward. So just a little tip. So let's put our little chefette down. I'm not going to need glue all the way to the top, just going all the way in the middle, because obviously she sits proud of this square. But you don't want this image to come below your square, otherwise it's going to sit outside the card. So there's my little chefette inside, and then I'm just going to add my 2 cakes up here. Now I have put pads on this one because they're at the top and they're only small. They're not going to interfere with anything too much. Well, that was my thinking behind it anyway. I put them on 3D pads on the original, and I don't think it made too much of a difference, so I went with the same idea on here. So I put my little bit of cake there, and then my cupcake next to it and slightly behind it. And then obviously you've still got space here to write your greeting for whoever you're sending it to. And then when you fasten that, see, that's much better. I don't have to fight with it to fasten it. It works a lot better because I've given it a little bit more space for these two to move past each other. So that's that bit done. Now we need to do the belly band and add the little gnome to the front. Now then, because this card was bigger, I'm going to have to extend my piece of card, because this actually measures 30 by 3. But if I put this down, it's not going to fit round the whole of the card. Okay, so I'm going to put it from the back. I mean, it will sort of nearly meet, but you can see there's a gap. Okay, so I'm going to add in a piece behind here. I'm going to add it behind this piece. Okay, so then my gnome will hide the join, so you won't see that join at all. I'm adding this inside and at the front. I mean, I've probably made the card a little bit big that I'm adding in, but it's not going to matter because it'll just add to the strength of it. So this piece that I cut was 8.5 by 3 centimetres, just to sort of give me a bit to play with, really. So that's going around there. Now you don't want it too tight, because if you put it too tight you're not going to get it over your sentiment, because I've got the sentiment to add on here as well. So I need to give it a little bit of room so that it's going to slide over that sentiment. Okay, so if I just add a little pencil mark where I want that to come to, because you're not going to see that, and then I can add my glue on here, and I know that I'm going to be able to slide this belly band over the top of my sentiment that I'm going to add in a minute, because they are 3 layers of card and I've raised it up on 3D pads as well. I might have made that a bit big, but I don't think it's really going to matter, because once you've added your gnome on the front, nobody's going to see any bits either side. Okay, well, if you want to, just pull that back and crease it at the front. Okay, so then that's going to lie flat, and then my gnome's going to cover the front bit. Alright, so my gnome. Now, to make sure I place my gnome in the right place, I'm just going to give myself a couple of pencil marks, because I want him to sit right in the middle. So I want him to sit either side of the closure on here. Okay, so in order to get him in the right place, I'm just going to make a couple of pencil marks because you won't see those either once I've added him down. Now you can see here my little pencil marks, and that's just so that I get my gnome in the right place. So if I add my glue on here, and then I can put my gnome where my pencil marks were, and I know he's going to be in the right place, sitting on my midline of that card. I'd probably put the glue on the back of the gnome, if I'm honest, rather than on the card, and my little gnome is going to sit there. Just give it time to stick down properly as well, otherwise you don't want your gnome falling off the back of the front of your card, do you? So I've put my sentiment on the front, like so. Make sure it's in the middle, and then I know that my belly band will sit over the top and glide past that sentiment, like so. So there you go, the little gnome card with a sentiment on the front, 2 sentiments really. Happy birthday, love you lots. Slide your belly band off, and you can write your sentiment inside as well. I just think it's cute. I think they're such a fabulous set of stamps. I think they're brilliant. Okay, so there you go, there's today's 2 cards. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it's got your creative juices flowing. Thanks ever so much for joining me again today. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you all again very soon. Bye for now.